Oh, all you hosts of heaven, O earth, what else? And shall I couple hell? Oh, fie! Hold, my heart, and you, my sinews, grow not instant old, but bear me stiffly up. Remember thee! Ay, thou poor ghost, whiles memory holds a seat in this distracted globe. Remember thee? Yeah, from the table of my memory I'll wipe away all trivial fond records, all saws of books, all forms, all pressures past that youth and observation copied there, and thy commandment all alone shall live within the book and volume of my brain, unmixed with baser matter. Yes, by heaven. O most pernicious woman! O villain, smiling damned villain! My tables! Meet it is I set it down that one may smile and be a villain. At least I'm sure it may be so in Denmark. So, uncle, there you are. Now to my word. It is adieu, adieu. Remember me. I have sworn.
What does Hamlet resolve to do at the ghost's injunction? As nearly as you can figure it, what is Hamlet saying in his soliloquy?
After revealing that Claudius killed him, the ghost says goodbye to Hamlet and begs Hamlet to remember him. In response, Hamlet swears retaliation against Gertrude and Claudius in order to avenge his father's death. He swears that he will remember his father. Hamlet's soliloquy reveals his emotional reaction as he processes his father's revelation and makes a plan for moving forward. After describing his shock, Hamlet resolves to forget all irrelevant information and to focus on the ghost's commandment unmixed with baser matter. Hamlet then declares that he will obey his father by putting all his education and memories out of mind in order to focus only on bringing justice to his father. Satisfied with his plan, Hamlet condemns his mother and Claudius. How does Hamlet's soliloquy place an emphasis upon theatricality that is clearly evident elsewhere in the play?
Theatricality of all characters is prevalent throughout the play, but in this soliloquy, Hamlet sets the tone for an extreme sense of dramatics. Hamlet begins the soliloquy shocked at the idea that Claudius killed old Hamlet, but instead of immediately relating the problem to the small situation at hand, he expands the scope of the tragedy. "Oh, all you host of heaven," Hamlet cries, and then, "Oh, earth," calling out to all the people who populate both places. Yet this is still not enough for Hamlet, who wonders, who else? Hamlet portrays his unhappiness as big enough to justify notifying all people, living and dead. Hamlet's soliloquy is full of ultimatums. He will completely eliminate all past lessons in order to focus on only one thing, remembering his father. Hamlet's thoughts and actions are in absolutes. Even his father's words, when repeated by Hamlet, take on new meaning. Adieu is no longer just impassioned farewell, but the literal French translation, till God, implying that the rest of Hamlet's life will be spent devoted to this injustice, which, in fact, turns out to be true. How is repetition used for poetic and rhetorical effect throughout the soliloquy?
Hamlet repeats several phrases in his soliloquy to show the intensity of his emotions and of his determination. Old Hamlet's last words to his son are, "Adieu, adieu, remember me," and these sentences echo in Hamlet's mind and in his speech. Hamlet's description of his physical reaction gives way to his mental reaction, in which his father's last words reverberate in Hamlet's head as he tries to answer them. "Remember thee?" Hamlet asks, answering his own rhetorical question with a vow that, as long as he has memory, he will remember the unfortunate ghost. Hamlet ends his soliloquy repeating his father's parting statement, and then vowing, "I have sworn." As Hamlet describes the details of his new focus in life, he uses parallel structure to emphasize the depth of his focus. Hamlet does not merely reject all his usual hobbies, reject theoretical learning and the demands of education, but abandons all trivial fond records, all sales of books, all forms, all pressures past. Avenging his father's death is his sole priority. Hamlet responds with such urgency to his obligation in part because of his anger towards Claudius. Hamlet, still wearing black 2 months after his father's funeral, has been consistently unpleasant to Claudius. Now his impudence appears justified. Claudius is not merely an emphatic villain, but a smiling villain, because he has gotten what he wanted. Old Hamlet's death, the throne, Gertrude, without any consequences. The image of a gloating Claudius only pushes Hamlet more. Hamlet is indignant that one may smile and be a villain. How does Hamlet emphasize the human body in the soliloquy?
Hamlet, in describing his visceral physical reaction to his father's news, draws attention to several parts of the human body. His quickly beating heart, as a result of fear or adrenaline, leads Hamlet to beg, hold my heart, as he tries to collect himself. Hamlet then addresses his muscles, telling them to not be weak, to grow not instant old, but to bear him stiffly up. Hamlet's own body is failing him, contributing to both this sensory depiction of anxiety and Hamlet's sense of mental isolation. Hamlet depicts his mind both as his brain and as a metaphorical globe. While Hamlet's body is unsure, his brain is immediately devoted to the task at hand. Hamlet does not have to command his mind. As he establishes a plan, his head is already in agreement. Although he bemoans his distracted globe, Hamlet quickly gains confidence in his objective, as he lists the steps he will take to remedy these distractions. Only after clearing his mind can Hamlet fully dedicate the book and volume of his brain. By emphasizing the human body, Shakespeare deftly and efficiently communicates Hamlet's internal conflict. Should he dangerously and foolishly go against the most powerful man in the kingdom, based upon an instinctive reaction to a ghost's allegations? What metaphor is used for Hamlet's mind? Why might Hamlet use this metaphor?
Hamlet's mind is metaphorically a table or a notebook. Functionally, the metaphor is very appropriate, as Hamlet wishes to clear his mind, then record an idea he must remember. Hamlet's desire to wipe away now irrelevant information that use and observation copied there is analogous to erasing old information in a notebook. Over the course of a class, a student might need more than one journal to contain all their information. Similarly, Hamlet refers to the book and volume of his brain, implying that there are multiple tomes of information on similar subjects within Hamlet's head. Hamlet does indeed use his mind as a notebook. However, Hamlet's usage of a notebook as a metaphor may not have been dictated merely by its suitability. Hamlet had spent a great deal of time at Wittenberg, and his studies colored many of his approaches to problems. It is no surprise that Hamlet, as a well-educated man who had dedicated a significant portion of his life to study, saw his mind through an academic lens. A notebook is a fitting metaphor for Hamlet to choose for his mind due to its context. Why might Shakespeare call for Hamlet to write toward the end of the soliloquy?
Hamlet's writing towards the end of the soliloquy allows Shakespeare to establish Hamlet's plan to avenge his father's death in the context of Hamlet's metaphor comparing his mind to a notebook. The physical act of Hamlet recording his father's parting words in his notebook cements Hamlet's mental pledge to wipe away unnecessary information from the table of his memory and replace it with only his father's demand. With the plan in the real world matching the plan in his head, Hamlet repeats the ghost's last words and then confirms his devotion with the vow, "I've sworn." When Hamlet actually writes in a physical notebook, the action both mirrors Hamlet's thoughts and strengthens his resolve to pursue his objective.